It sounds like we don't have any modifications or additions to the agenda.
None.
Okay.
Start over if you don't mind.
Okay, sorry. Too bad. We're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order 5 o'clock with no modifications or additions to the agenda. And we're gonna start with public comment from Mr. Scott Webster from Mount Hood Railroad.
Well, thanks for having me. I've got 5 minutes, is that right?
Yes,
4
please.
minutes. You should have this packet. I don't think we're going to have it up on the projector. Mount Hood Railroad, I think you all know who we are. We've been around for a long time. The new ownership took ownership about almost 10 years ago now. I think at its peak, it's had 46,000 riders. When we took over the first year, we had 28,000 riders. And this year, we're expected to have close to 60,000 based on our run rate that we looked at the other day. So we're a growing business. We bring a lot of business into the community. We've been told by both the Chamber and the Warner Brothers franchise for Polar that whatever your ticket sales are with the short line railroad, you can expect about 5 to 8x in the community. I still have a hard time believing that. It seems very, very high, but even at 5x, $5 million in the community that we bring in at ticket sales, we're looking at potentially 20 million that would be brought in. You might ask why we're looking at doing a shed. And on your third page, you're going to see a beautiful stern wheeler. This stern wheeler is about 2/3, just a little bit less than 2/3 the size of the Cascade Lock stern wheeler. So it's a lot more quaint. We think it could be just a great addition to our portfolio. We've got, when we took over the first 12 months, we had about 144,000 unique visitors to our website, which is a lot. So I think it's probably the most visited tourist venue in the whole region. And this year, I just looked at it, the 12 run rate is 292 unique visitors with 600,000 sessions. So that's 292,000 unique visitors. And as we've layered in new experiences, as we added the rail bikes, which hopefully you've all heard of by now, it's been a great success. Kevin, you've ridden it how many times?
I think I've been on there 3 times.
He just said he couldn't go a 4th because he can't afford. So they are a little bit spendy, but they've really been great for the railroad. We think by layering in this stern wheeler experience, we're not guaranteed that we're going to have success right out of the gate with all of the traffic to our website. So we're super excited about it. Doing this is a little bit like having 6 balls in the air. You know, what boat are you going to use? Who's going to be your captain? Where are you going to mortgage the boat? And so we've got a lot of those balls in the air right now. We have money down, so the boat is in earnest. Right now it's out of Florida and it's an active stern wheeler. The owner, whose name is Penny, she's just at that age where she wants to travel. And so I'm going to be going down here in the next few weeks and actually riding one of their events. We have to put it on a ship and ship it through the Panama Canal. No small feat. It goes to Canada because of some federal rules that make it just too expensive to ship it to another port in the US. And then we're going to have a captain, which we've located already, that will drive down the coast and up the Columbia River. So we're hopeful that we'd like for you to consider 2 things. One, can we use your commercial slip here in the Port Marina? And then secondly, I'd love to come back and just kind of get more into the weeds with the board on what this could mean to our community and what it could mean to our business. So with that, I can sit down, right?
Question though, if you put down money, that probably means you have a time frame.
I do.
What is that?
Year end. So it closes year end and I can get out of it. But I'm hoping that we can have a decision by then. I hope it's possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next public comment from Doug Hawley.
Yes.
And yeah, also, if you don't mind keeping it to 5 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I'm here to point out a item on the consent agenda. And that concerns an item we were just made aware of yesterday by one of our other boathouse owners. My wife and I own a boathouse. And there are extensive revisions to the rules and regulations, in particular, pages 103 to 107, that we have not had time to digest and would like input on. And in order to do that, it has to be taken off the consent calendar and put on the November Planning Commission agenda for public comment. And where it goes from there, we'll find out. But in particular, Steve Tesmer will speak to this from another angle, but we persist in wanting to discuss these matters because we have a very large vested interest. And we're concerned that changes are being made in haste based on the court's goal to remove the boathouses from the marina. And we think step by step we can convince you of it. So basic request, remove the consent agenda item for the rules and regulations and move it to a calendar date where it can get public input. Thank you.
I just want to comment on that the rules and regs that are on the consent agenda actually are the same as were published in November of 2024.
That's not the case.
I actually looked it up before I came to the meeting.
Well, the particulars that are in there concerning the removal of the boathouses,
Not the same.
I just
think you're looking at the 2023 revision.
we have the 2023 items.
You have the 2024.
I
never saw it.
We don't have that.
No, we never saw it. It's never put out.
Oh, it's on the website. I forwarded you the link.
Okay, but you know,
I think-
none of us were notified.
What he's saying is that we never saw that one.
Oh, it's posted on the website.
I know, but please, the commission knows that we have been anxious to get together and discuss these items with the commissioners in an effort to have a give and take. And when they're put on the consent agenda, the day before that it's going to be discussed, or not discussed, I should say, because it doesn't get discussed on the consent agenda. We don't think that's what is fair given the background of this whole thing. And so if we have been inattentive to paying attention to the consent agenda because we haven't visited the website because no one told us anything about it.
I wasn't aware that, was there an agreement to forward information to?
There were requests to have any information pertaining to the boathouses forwarded.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to state that there were agreements made, informal, albeit, that when the issue at large was raised, that the boathouse owners would be kept informed. And indeed, that we would meet with committees, we would do all sorts of things. None of that ever happened. And so this is just an example of what we are trying to, and in fact, it may go back to 2024. But
Yeah, the verbiage on the website changed in 2024, but the agreement was made in 2022, correct? Yeah, 2022.
the agreement about getting rid of the boathouses?
The new policy.
Yeah, that was August of 22.
That's not the, okay, thank you. Vicki Reed.
Hi, I'm Vicki Reed. I'm also a boathouse owner. I'm going to talk a little bit and make a request. So we've been working as boathouse owners over the past several months to research costs of converting a boathouse dock over to boat slips, which was the original plan when they decided to remove us. And then possibility of putting possibly putting new boat slips elsewhere in the marina versus taking the boathouses out. We looked back and there was 2 studies done, one in 2007 and one in 2010, as well as several months of planning exercises completed by the Ports Marina Advisory Committee to look at other ways to configure the marina that allow keeping the boathouses, which clearly that is where I'm at. And we have some really good news that we have come up with a solution that would optimize the port's return on its marine investment or financially possibly help the port and keep the boathouses. So we would be able to talk to you about maybe increasing the availability of boat slips, encourage maintenance going forward and long-term solution for the boathouses, and just a win-win solution for the betterment of both you and us. To accomplish that, we would really love to request, and I sort of spoke to this, that the planning, is it planning commission, planning committee, I'm not sure the exact word, would meet with the boathouse owners and listen to some of our research and our planning and just give us a chance to have voice and discuss this with you guys. It's coming up. Clearly, we're all very upset. And we just would like to have a voice and be heard. And we do feel like we can offer solutions that are going to help you guys and help us. And as far as the rules and regulations, I kind of got a different take on that, but that would be something that could possibly be discussed if we could get on agenda or on some kind of commission or somewhere where we can discuss in the next few months. We would appreciate it. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. It's Mary Ackerman. Yeah.
Hi, Vince Ackerman. I'm also one of the boathouse owners, and I don't really want to offer any new information. I just want to read you something that was actually one of the port's own documents, and I'll make it real quick. This is in the Marina Basin Planning Study from the Port of Hood River 2015. After the section new dock and updated lease agreements, starting on page 3, the document states this: these structures have been an integral component of the marine culture dating back to the early 1960s. Boathouse owners rarely turn over and have proven to be solid tenants for the marina, as there have been very few vacancies or problems other than maintenance and substandard connections to the original floating dock. Up until 2014, boathouse mortgage was structured on a year-to-year lease, which created a great deal of uncertainty for owners and resulted in a distinct disincentive to maintain or improve their boathouses. Recognizing the need for significant repairs to the old dock and understanding that boathouse owners do not have alternatives to relocate, the port approved the replacement of the boathouse dock in 2014. Based on the recommendations from the Marina Ad Hoc Committee and agreements with the boathouse owners, the port financed the new boathouse dock with a 10-year bond and required boathouse owners to pay a special assessment for 10 years to cover that bond payment. To acknowledge this commitment and create incentive for owners to improve their boathouses, the port restructured the boathouse leases to a 5-year term that renews automatically every year, subject to compliance with lease terms and timely payment of rent. While the new boathouse dock does provide the ability to be converted to boat slips in the future, boathouse owners and the port have demonstrated a commitment to improving the boathouses and dock as a continuing integral component of the marina. In the event that a future marina reconfiguration becomes desirable, boathouses could be relocated elsewhere in the marina. And I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. That was in your own documents. So thank you.
Thanks. Steve Tesfer.
Yeah, thank you for hearing us tonight on kind of short notice.
Main thing is that this needs to get back on the agenda, as we discussed, with the chair. Or I discussed with the chair today, we hope to be on your November planning session where we can share with you, we think is some really good alternatives for how to handle direction going forward. Based on discussions with most of you, we understand that what Vince just read was done by a previous commission, and that some of you are new to the commission since the last decision was made, which was a radical change in that direction. We understand the reason from talking to several of you why those changes were made at the time. And they included concerns for insurance cancellation after the Dalles Marina fire. Some of you recall that. Certainly a legitimate concern. Uncertainty about the bridge requirements and compliance with those. Obviously, that's a high priority for the port. I think we know what those are today. That urgency may have passed. There was a misperception at the time that the then commission made the decision to ixnay the boathouses about pollution and non-compliance with the Clean Marine Act. I want to assure you all that the boathouses, at least, we've been there 35 years, have never dumped raw sewage into the marina. Like I believe they were, some of you might have been led to believe. And since then, the port, in an effort to comply with gray water issues, disconnected our water connections to the individual units. So there's no plumbing in any of the boathouses anymore. So that issue's been passed at this point. Concerns were brought up about flotation and compliance. And as it turned out, after some significant work was done, most of those were in compliance. And so we've addressed that issue. And we got the Clean Marina certificate. That issue's been addressed. So things have changed again since that previous decision was made. There was also a misperception at the time the decision was made about who had paid for the new boathouse dock. And as was stated in that document, and I know Ben's research, indeed, the boathouse owners made special assessment payments for 10 years to cover all the costs related to that dock, as well as their contribution to the new electrical system that went in. And I believe that there was a misperception of how many boat slips could go in place of the boathouse. I think there was a perception that if we just got those boathouses out of there, we could put twice as many boats in. And it sounds very simple, but the cost to do that is much higher than the cost to add more boat slips elsewhere in the marina. And the port paid for 2 studies that were cited earlier, that we can provide, that recommended expanding boat slips elsewhere in the marina for that very reason. So there's a more efficient place to put boat slips. We think we have an innovative way to help pay for those. We think we have an innovative way to help the port improve its return on investment on the existing boathouse dock. And we look forward to sharing those with you at the meeting in November, being on that agenda. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I would reiterate that at least pages 103 to 107 of this should be held out of the Marina Rules and Regulations consent agenda if possible.
Out of here? I know, I'm in the corner.
He loves getting up in front of people.
Patty Kessler.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah. My name is Patty Kessler and my husband and I owned our boathouse for 35 years. He just said public speaking is kind of torture for me, so I'll be reading mine. This has actually been on my mind for a few years and I've kept quiet, believing the port would handle the boathouse situation with basic fairness. I ask each of you now, how can you possibly morally make the decision to take our property away from us? Think of property that you or your family has cherished for years. What if an elected board took it away from you and then further penalized you with a huge expense for that removal? Especially when there were financial benefits for both the port and all the marina tenants not to do so. And these options were not even allowed to be reviewed. Does this sound like a fair democratic process? Wouldn't you be hurt, scared, confused, angry, crushed, indignant? Wouldn't you have those sleepless nights and the tearful days and that's what it's happening. The port is a transient board. None of you will probably be sitting here within a handful of years. Yet we've been emotionally and financially invested in the marina and the boathouse for 35 years. Your decision will impact the rest of our lives. What makes you so certain you're making the right decisions, both financially and morally, without allowing the boathouse owners the due process of an open-minded roundtable discussion that was promised 4 years ago? With all the angst going on in our country, we should at least be able to trust our local elected government agencies. Hood River is really known as the town with a heart where people help each other out, not throw them out. Thank you.
And it looks like Chuck Reed is here, but does not wish to speak. And I would just like to say that, I hear you, and as an elected official, I know it's my job to represent all constituents, and I'm always open to discussing and hearing if we've done something that isn't fair and equitable. I'm open to hear, and the board will discuss during Kevin Greenwood's time to see if it's something we want to open up for fall planning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, on to consent agenda, and given that the verbiage is the same now as it was in 2004, I don't see any reason. 2024. I don't see any reason to pull it. Nothing has changed in the verbiage for the boathouses. So I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I don't mind pulling it and talking about it. I mean, what does it cost us to wait a month?
It hasn't changed though.
I'm aware that it hasn't changed, but I'm sensitive to the fact that there are people that weren't aware that it changed.
Correct. Okay.
And again, it costs us a month. And I'm happy to hear ideas. My complaint or my primary issue, I mean, there's a few things. One, I mean, coming onto this commission, I have to, on some level, respect the decisions that were made before I'm here and try to carry those things out. But as I became aware of the boathouse issue, my question was always, I want to do what's best for our broad constituency. And so the challenge to boathouse owners was, show me how keeping the boathouses is a better option for the marina and for Hood River than having them go away. And now I'm hearing, hey, they've got proposals for that I haven't heard. And I certainly don't mind waiting 1 month to hear those proposals. So
Those are two different things.
what
Sorry
are,
to interrupt you. Go ahead. Rules and regulations. You're already down there. There's just the rules. That's what this is.
Yeah.
So they do with leases.
It's not gonna change.
This is just rules and regulations for a boat, for jet skis, for boathouses. It's just the rules you're gonna live by. If, and this is the whole guy in the commission, if you want to reopen a discussion on the existence of an entity down there, fine. That's three, you need three commissioners to do that, and if that exists, do it. But I think they're two different things, both valid, but I think they should be kept separate. This is just your operating rules for down there.
I mean, I did look over this, so I'm not,
I mean, and also any commissioner can point, if you want, if you want it off, take it off.
yeah.
And it's-
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you want, you can just pull it as an action item for further discussion this evening.
Yeah, let's do that. Can we do this?
My recommend, I mean, I agree that I believe they're two separate issues. We can move forward with the rates and rules and regulations
Mhm.
and listen to a proposal
At fall time.
at fall planning. If we need to modify anything, we can do so, but this allows vendors to set their rates, it allows people to budget, it just allows everyone to. You know, the expectation is these rates come out in the fall and people are expecting it. I don't think it's fair to withhold this information from, you know, the broader people for another month when we can accomplish both things.
Okay,
That's fine.
that's acceptable to me. I'm fine keeping, I don't know if Catherine had anything she wanted to pull out of the consent agenda or questions. I'm asking. Are you good with the consent agenda, or do you have?
Hello, everyone. Sorry not to be in person at a business meeting for my firm. I have an email that I wrote to Kevin. I would suggest that we pull, going back to the agenda, if it's appropriate to pull item D and item E from the consent agenda, just so that we can discuss more about the parking. And then also just the marina rules and regs. Just to ensure there's been a discussion about it, just because it does affect so many users of port property. But that's why I had my hand raised, is to ask to pull just those two items from the consent agenda. Over.
To push them into discussion items,
Action.
action items.
To push them so that we can have discussion with the intention of having action based on the discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in favor of that too, actually. And we can talk about it tonight and then make a decision as to how to proceed.
Okay,
Is that all right? E and D,
D and
E and
E
E.
down to action items.
Yep, Delta.
Got it. Delta and Echo down to action items. Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as modified with D and E going down to action.
Ashley's gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley.
That's all right. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just had my hand up, but I don't know if you were able to see that. I just also wanted to add, before you made any sort of motion, that although this resolution is primarily policies regarding conduct, there is a policy about the boathouse leases within this document that was adopted in 2024. And it does say that boathouse leases will not be renewed beyond 2026. So I just wanted to clarify that that is within this document.
Why did that change in 2024 without any notice?
I'm not sure. I think it probably was noticed. I just wanted to note that for you all, that it's not simply fees. There is also that language in there in the policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I move that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of items Delta and Echo to be discussed during the action items.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Student.
Okay, down to information reports. Any questions?
Yeah, just questions. I know that we had the ordinance in there, so if you have any questions about what was in the ordinance, I did receive some comments, specifically section 23 about the executive director having the ability to create rules.
Thought you were gonna slide that one by me, huh?
I think we were going item by.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
In there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't have anything to add. The information is as presented. I've had a few offline questions, but
Okay. Yeah, and I had most of my questions answered, but I did have one question. When we look at the total budget, the beginning fund balance is 18.5 million. And the ending fund balance is about 11.5 million. That indicative of a trend in the board's finances. 2 years hence, when we have no money.
I don't believe it is. Part of that, part of it is a lot of capital outlay that we have budgeted, but may or may not actually occur. It also, well, that's mainly, it's mainly capital outlay.
Okay.
And as I discussed earlier, but I can say in a public meeting, I do budget conservatively, so I budget revenues. I always hope that revenues will come in higher than I budget. I make the assumption that expenditures will come in lower than I budget. So there's always that gap in there as well.
Right, I just feel like that significant fund decrease would be an item of concern.
It is a big number. Yes.
Okay. All right, that's my only thing on the financial report.
Anybody have anything for Daryl for the waterfront parking?
Good job, Darren.
Yep.
About the ordinance regulating, that was something that you're addressing.
Fire.
There you go. Sorry. That's a
Now it's
sorry
your
to jump
turn.
ahead. So yeah, Ashley's here. So this is great. She crafted the ordinance with Daryl's assistance. So, any feedback that you'd like to see change to that? I know.
We should email you that.
Yeah, and I can forward it to Ashley for sure. So the main one was that section 23.
Yeah.
And then I think the only other one was the exclusionary language. I believe when we discussed this a couple of months ago, there was some question about whether we would really utilize it. And so I did confirm with Ashley that is optional to the board as to whether it wants to use that or not.
I didn't catch a typo. You called it a peace officer instead of a police officer.
Oh, gotcha.
You
That,
wanted to know, how does one
that-
become a peace officer?
that's actually a port term in state
Oh, it is?
statute. I know it's a strange one, but that's actually what it is in statute, is
Oh,
peace
so is that-
officer.
Is
So
it,
that is a port employee, right?
oh, is that like our security? Okay.
Correct. It's anyone who you've designated as your peace officer. So it could be the
Okay.
county sheriff, it could be private security. I know, it's a strange one though.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that.
But actually, that's an important topic because just because we have private security, there's a separate and specific duty of being a peace officer, separate from just doing night security. Is that correct?
That's correct. The peace officer is basically given the task of enforcing your ordinances, right? So
Right.
if there is a violation of an ordinance, such as this ordinance, which regulates conduct on port property, it's their job to enforce.
They can give citations.
So this is part of the trick, right? This is
Yeah.
one of the struggles that the port has had because I don't believe that we have a designated peace officer, though we do have night security. So that's one of the things, if there is a violation or something down on the waterfront, we call police first and foremost. Now we have issued, citations to trucks that go through our barricades and such. And, so we do that. And I guess it's almost as much a administrative function as it is an individual out there enforcing. So I think that is an area of either, because right now there's stuff on the waterfront even Kenton in our security department will call the police.
Which is
So the
appropriate.
police is our designated peace officer at this time.
Well, I don't know if we can consider them ours.
Right.
But
We-
I would almost say that, Ashley, we don't really have one at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with Kevin. I would say that generally the county enforces its own laws and regulations and state law to the extent that that is within their jurisdiction. City police, the same thing, right? If there's a that's the fun part of a court like the special district. It exists within so many other jurisdictions. So there are city laws that you all still have to abide by and people still have to abide by when they're on your property, as well as county laws, state laws, and the various police departments of those entities that enforce those laws. But what we're talking about are specifically your ordinance regulations. For example, if somebody is cleaning a fish on the dock and Kevin wants a staff member to cite that individual, who does that citation? That would be a peace officer, not a city police officer or a county sheriff.
Thank you for the clarification.
So question, Ashley, regarding section 23,
Yes.
the question is this, does this allow the executive director to create a rule that has the weight of an ordinance for the court?
No, it does not. He does not have that authority, and you cannot delegate that authority to anyone. That is illegal to delegate the ordinance authority or legislative authority. It simply would
Given
allow.
that,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
go ahead.
what does it mean then?
So it would allow him to pass rules. So for example, signs, if you want to put up a sign that interprets and adds further clarity to these regulations that have been adopted in the ordinance. Or if you want to, again, for example, the marina rules and regulations, right? If they want to adopt those specific rules and regulations to add further clarity and context to these more general ordinance rules, that language would allow Kevin to do so. But I also, if that's not a power that you want to give to Kevin, then that's also fine to keep that power simply within the elected officials' purview.
We don't want Kevin with that kind of power.
And no offense, either way.
If you have any other suggested changes or considerations, it's always good to get them out in the public session, but I can always forward them to Ashley to incorporate. So right now so it sounds like we're going to remove 23. Is there consensus on that? Or
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, I think the commission should be solely responsible for that sort of thing.
I think
Like,
especially now, it's pretty.
And I don't want you to think that I agree. I
No,
I don't want it in there, but it's not because I don't think you can do that. It's that I think we should do that way.
yeah.
It's also some
It's the
cover for
only thing
you
we
or
can
future.
No offense taken. Are there any?
Further, my question about the fishing in Hood River, do we own any of the land under the river?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So in the no fishing, there was Ashley, there was a question about the ownership of the Hood River. And I don't believe that the Hood River is in our ownership, but I don't know that for sure.
It might be interesting.
So
Like I know, like down the Columbia, there's a couple of parcels of private land that actually
Sure.
go out pretty far into the river. So it might just be interesting to know.
Mhm.
So I would say, well, first of all, I want to just note, I see Commissioner Thomas's hand is up. So I'll answer that question, but then I also want to allow her to speak. But I would just say I would look at your own individual properties, your lot lines that you own, and see where the jurisdictional boundaries of those are. And you can also easily find that out by talking to the county and the city. Most likely their city limits would show you exactly where the property limits are and whether those extend. But generally you do not, for water law, you don't own the water, you own the land underneath the water. So if there were property rights, they would extend to the water bed out into the river, which I assume is true to a certain extent here, since you do own docks, for example, and you have the right to put those docks into the river, meaning presumably you own that land underneath the docks.
Thank you. Catherine?
Thank you. Did we skip item B as in Bravo? because this is on my agenda, this is item C. So I just want to make sure I know being a virtual is very difficult. So according to my agenda,
I asked if there were any questions for Daryl for the parking plan. I'm sorry. You must have
that's
missed.
fine. I just want
Did you
to,
have-
no, but just keeping on the line is, if we could go back to B, just because I do have a question about that, but,
Okay.
and then I did submit my questions again. I appreciate staff and all the answers that I've already received. My further on question for the public meeting is, have we confirmed that this ordinance does not conflict with any city, state, or executive orders at this time? Before we move forward?
So as far as I'm aware, it doesn't conflict with any city rules and regulations. I'm not aware of any state rules and regulations it would conflict with, or federal currently. There are, over 100 executive orders that have been passed in the last 9 months. And so it's possible that there's new executive orders that are coming out, perhaps, but nothing that I'm aware of that this would conflict with.
Great. I just want to make sure that's on the record because I know that there's a lot of due diligence that has to go into creating something like this. And then for my own clarity, because the peace officer versus police officer, we're not trying to create our own law enforcement agency with this ordinance, correct?
This ordinance doesn't actually do anything to create any sort of peace officer position. It simply says, as is required by the statute, that the peace officer would be the one to enforce this code. I think that what Kevin was alluding to is that that's a separate conversation for you all, and maybe an important one is to consider, do you want to do that express delegation? Have somebody who will be acting as your peace officer to enforce these port regulations.
Perfect. Thank you. Those are all my questions. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
So was there any other discussion about the ordinance? We had consensus about 23, so we can move on to presentations and discussion items. So I'm the one that asked about the toll bridge signage. And I don't have a solution, but I wanted to discuss how maybe we could maybe just clean it up, make it simpler, maybe less wordy, maybe something simple like, yeah, something that makes it obvious that it's pay by mail. Because there's been so much confusion, and that's something that staff could work on. And maybe we could talk about it at fall planning.
Sure. So would you like us to bring some different sign examples?
Or something.
Okay.
It's such a hard, yeah, it's such a hard thing because realistically speaking, the system's not that perfect. And it would be better to redesign the system, but since we don't know how long the system's gonna be in place, then you don't invest a ton of money into doing a different way to contact people. But at the same time, you wanna be able to make sure that they know what's happening. Guilty as charged.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked like QR codes, for example, that came up.
Yeah.
Do you really want people being distracted?
Yeah.
If they're driving by themselves?
And I just read it at 25 miles an hour and understand what's happening and not have to slow down.
Yeah. Well, and I think if I could jump in
Yeah.
here, because we spent a lot of time, well, Patty spent a lot of time helping us try to figure out what to put up there, because exactly that, right? You want it something that people can read quick and hopefully interpret. I would love input from you from what you think, because we've already kind of hashed this out. And so I would love or even open it up to the public. What would help
Okay.
us?
Yeah.
Because we're
I'll
more
do
than
research,
happy
you
to
know,
work on
ideas.
signage,
Okay.
but we need to know what direction to go, I guess, at this point.
Okay.
I have a piece of policy input or a question. I'm curious what people think about this. It's the pay within 14 days or get slammed with fees. If somebody's-
It's actually 30 days.
It's 30 days.
Yeah.
Because it said 14 days.
I know, and I know.
That's reasonable. I just, if somebody's like on a cross-country trip with their family and they're like driving around and they didn't notice the sign, it was at night. And they get home 2.5 weeks later and they got a fat fine.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, so just clarification,
It's
because
30 days.
we did, so I inherited this system that had actually been put in place initially, as I thought through it more. It had been put in place initially to deal with what we referred to as run-throughs back then. It was originally put in for people who were violating our breeze by on purpose, that were just blowing through, didn't want to pay. So it was punitive. And so as we've worked through it this summer and learned from our mistakes, we've switched it so that and now people will have the initial invoice for if they cross once, $3.50. They'll have 30 days to pay that. If they don't pay within 30 days, then they'll have that $3 fee added on at that point. And then if they don't pay within 30 more days, then they have that punitive, it is a more punitive late fee, but at that point, they've had notice that they need to pay. So we, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So the
All right,
question
so
was, do
that's
we want this
something
on fall planning?
Yeah, so that's something that maybe the commissioners could bring their ideas or email them to you or Patty and then
Yes.
discuss it at fall planning.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And actually by mail is what pretty much everybody does, because that's the only information that we can get from DMV
Okay.
is mail. So we don't, DMV does not track
So we need
people's
to-
emails.
Maybe talk to the DMV about doing email. All right, thank you, Debbie. Executive Director report.
All right, so lots has been going on. Just, I think a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. One is that we're going to be looking for new legal counsel. So I think I've talked with some of you about that. They're cutting back their special district clients, and so I did talk with special districts, and they suggested a company by the name of Cable Houston. And so I have reached out to, his name is Thomas. And so I'm kind of leaning that that's a good way to go. So I don't know if the commission wants to meet him, or Heather, if you want to meet him, and just kind of,
So it's just down to one person?
well, we can go out, but I'll tell you what, my recommendation is that we're using somebody at SBAO supports, and I'm, looking for more options. But one thing that's nice about Cable Houston, Port of Cascade Locks uses them. They're fairly, all their clients are primarily special districts.
Okay.
So what I would say is maybe schedule a meeting for you to meet Tom and his staff, and if it looks good, we can go down that route, or we can go and interview others.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say if the pool was larger than last time, maybe we would entertain pool again, but it's a small pool, so.
It's getting that way. So if you want, I can maybe schedule something for the three of us to meet.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I will follow up on that. Let's see. Just for Amanda's, I think the internal real estate committee, we're hoping to call them together. I think that's Christy and Ben. Did you know you were on that, Ben?
I knew I was back up for sure.
So Amanda, you'll reach out to them and
Oh,
get something scheduled on that front. Lots moving on that side.
yes.
Ryan, do you have something on the parking lots, an update?
Yes, project update, the Granite will start paving on Port Way tomorrow, and they'll be doing Anchor Way on Thursday.
You can set up shop right in front of that Tractor Supply store down in the
Park
front.
everything in the driveway. They're gonna make their deadline.
That looks like it, ahead of schedule, sounds right.
That's awesome.
And I think the only other thing is I want to continue to bring your attention to the fall planning agenda, which is on page 212. Just make sure that, because we're a month away now, so I just want to make sure we're focused on the things that you want to talk about. So the first one there, the Marina East and West opportunities. So that's talking about some type of RFDI. Commissioner Shepherd, I think you had asked if there was something about another site, and that we're researching that process from a few years ago. And so that's been kind of the basis for staff's, what we're working on as far as bringing you back for fall planning.
That makes sense.
And then you'll see the second item there is the boathouse dock redevelopment. So, that's an opportunity. We were going to be looking past the boathouses. That was the intention because the current policy is that the boathouses will be gone at the end of calendar year 26. But, if the commission wants to have go in a different direction or bring other people in to discuss that, this would be a perfect time to do that. So what's your thought on that?
My thought is, if the boathouse community has a plan they want to present, that we could allow 20 minutes.
Get that before the boat landing.
Perfect. Okay. So go ahead and invite, I'll reach out to Steve and Tesmer and others, get the materials way in advance, but then we'll schedule 20 minutes for that.
But not on the same days. Call plan.
Oh, gotcha.
So we do a special meeting ahead of time just devoted to that?
Oh,
sure.
sure.
I think the right time for
Yeah.
the board meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to do a separate meeting in advance?
If we're gonna have members from the interested boathouse parties at the meeting, then I'd like to do it. I'd like to give them the attention without
Gotcha.
being
So if
distracted.
it's not gonna be something where they're presenting at fall planning, I would suggest a roundtable with more time.
Gotcha. Do you want to do it that same day or a different day?
Let's do it before.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you do something like that at fall planning, it's gonna be 20 minutes. We're not gonna make a day out of it. So let's find a time where we can actually spend proper time if that's what people want to do.
Gotcha. Maybe a week before or something like that. Okay, that sounds great. And then we're
Sorry to
looking.
interrupt, Kevin, for that
Yes.
meeting, though, so can we ensure that we understand the insurance implications of anything that we move forward, that we have an awareness as commissioners of like our own legal responsibilities as well, just so that we have that awareness. So I don't know if there's any prep we need to do prior to that meeting, but I just want to make sure I'm coming prepared so that when we do discuss with them, we're not waiting, well, let's check on this and then we'll get back to you kind of thing. So if that could be kind of discussed, just so that all the cards are on the table, so everyone has an awareness of what the actual implications would be, that'd be my simple request, if that makes sense.
Well, it's a big universe. I guess what I would say is that the policies that would be in play would be the leases, right? You got the boathouse leases, and then you've got our policies. I don't think there's anything outside of those two documents as far as a policy.
I think perhaps what she's asking, she can correct me, is if there is anything that we're going to be asked to review or have presented to us, that we have the opportunity to look at it, ask questions and get answers so that we can actually get through something that day as opposed to leaving with questions.
Yeah, so we'll always get you stuff like at least 4 or 5 days in advance. But those are probably going to be policy considerations, not legal ones.
perfect.
Great. Does that help, Catherine?
Ben Shepherd was able to take whatever I was supposed to say correctly and make it.
I feel the exact same way.
Thank you. And then let's see, this maritime opportunity. So just everybody know the maritime lease is coming up. And so do you want to spend some time talking about what could go there?
So this is the first one that's kind of gonna come up on the other side of the river over there. Obviously, we're not gonna be talking about lot 1 or Barman, everybody knows why, but Maritime has an end date to its leases and an end date to its usable life coming up in the relatively near future. Might be worth starting there as far as
Great.
chatting about something on that side, and because we're not gonna get into the rest of it for a while, so.
Perfect. Okay. And then, oh, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, we were gonna talk about the relocation of this building, these offices.
Yes, and that's the last one.
Is that, am I just missing it?
Well, I had the admin relocation, but we also had the federal highways right-of-way acquisition funds.
Okay,
And so I kind of thought it might make sense just to merge them together because they're so closely attached.
okay, great.
So I think at that point, we'll have some information about, what, maybe the appraisals will be done. We can have a discussion about, what you want to do with those funds. As you know, there's been lots of opinions about what those
Good.
funds should be used on.
As long as we're getting to discuss that.
And I can even put like slash admin.
Great.
Relocation. The other one too, I think this is one that Commissioner Shepherd's been working on, is the Columbia Area Transit Bus Terminal IGA. A lot of moving parts on that. In fact, Megan's going to be helping us through that. And so I think it's just kind of getting the IGA out there, talking about potential locations, just have a discussion on moving that aspect of the project forward. Then the other one is the future Big Seven. As you know, we've had that kind of as a work order for Tom to sell that. But I think that we just need to have a discussion about whether you want to retain that, since it's opening up lots of interesting opportunities for folks in our community. And so we just need to get that clear direction, whether to sell it or continue leasing it. Another one that's very exciting, that's the use of the Hamel Mill proceeds. And so I think we do need to have a public discussion about what you intend to do with those. Then we have the Indian Creek Trail. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes just talking about what you want to do as far as the ownership of that property, and see if it's worth seeing if somebody else wants to take that on.
And is our, the parcels of slope that we own, are they adjacent to Parks and Rec property or city property?
City, county, private. I don't believe Parks and Rec actually owns
Anything there
any.
where we
Have
are?
an IGA for maintaining.
Yeah, okay, okay.
And there's an easement on it. I think there's some Pacific Power, I think, has some land along there as well. And so then we talked about the right of way acquisition. So sounds like the last meeting, Heather, you had mentioned about having the hours added to this agenda, but I think we've got the hours for the parks figured out.
Right, we'll roll that. Hi, commissioners. We talked to our security and worked through Ryan. So the first of the year, we'll change all the hours.
Oh, cool.
Not a problem.
And it would be at 10 in the summer?
Yes, but we're just gonna go with all of the parks. It's too confusing for people if we're not consistent in each location.
Okay.
And Kevin will, your on this is for fall planning.
Yeah.
Any kind of concession proposals, or does the commission want to?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so did you guys, if you recall, we've received several requests for proposals, including one that was brought up tonight during public comment. So are there any of those proposals that you would like to have discussed or bring them back?
I feel like we need to have a policy discussion about proposals at fall planning. Fall planning sounding really long.
We have a resolution.
Responsible.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Darrell.
Thank you. Commissioner Beaker, we have a resolution that guides us for concession proposals.
Yeah.
So the concept that Mr. Webster was talking about tonight does fit those guidelines. I have a list I keep of people, and if it looks like something that meets the criteria of that, then I'll send that your way so you can look at it. Then we would bring it.
Then we should hear it, right?
But the previous directive from the commission was that at either spring or fall planning, we bring to you any kind of proposals
Right.
that would meet the criteria.
Yeah, short memory, sorry.
Do you have, besides this proposal, are there a significant, a number of them that meet the criteria?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. However.
Sorry.
If you are interested in opening up something over here in the Marina Basin, we would need to open it to everyone.
Correct.
But the conversation is, are you interested in that? And then we would do the request for proposals. The other ones don't necessarily fit the criteria.
Yeah, the criteria at this time.
Okay. Do we want to open up requests for proposals for the marina at this point, Francisco?
I guess, is that part of our policy that says we're not doing any vendors in the Remind me which one was.
The policy for the Marina Basin
Mhm.
was that we were waiting to see what we needed from the bridge replacement project before we did anything. So staff has met with the contractors from the project to look at access to the marina, what they're gonna need in the upland area of the marina. And the conclusion is that it's not gonna have an impact on utilizing the commercial dock. There'll be very limited times that there won't be access, and they'll have a clear designated channel for boats to come in and out of the marina. So,
And as far as vendors, I don't know the details of Mr. Webster's proposal, but one of the things I do like down there is when I see cruise ships coming in, dropping off passengers or busing down to spend money. They go back to their cruise ship and go. I like that the minimal car traffic. I like the revenue streams going into town to different businesses. If something like this, I would like to know if something like, know more about it. Not tonight, but I would want to know more about that.
Would that also include, I'm sorry to interrupt, also include all the sauna proposals that we heard?
They don't meet the
some
criteria.
of the people don't necessarily meet the criteria
Okay.
for the uses over at Nichols, which we've kind of got a hold over there.
Okay.
It's questionable whether we would want to use the event site or not. That is a whole nother thing. This particular proposal, I felt met all of the criteria, and I do meet with each of those people on that list if they'd like to, and we go through everything, and I vet, the ones we pull out the resolution, I go over it with them and let them know yes or no if we could move forward at all. And Mr. Webster and I have met and talked a fair amount, and I thought his proposal was one of the more exciting things I've heard for the port in a really long time on the waterfront. It's just a matter, there's some, things that need to be talked about, but it's something that you should, if you're interested, take a look at. You should at least perhaps hear his proposal at some.
Yeah, so then you would open up a request for proposals for anybody that's interested in.
Yes, we've had a previous proposal, the tiki boat.
Yeah.
For the use of the commercial dock. So I would, if there was a request, we would put it out in the paper.
Okay.
We would contact everybody on the list, let them know that we're going to entertain the idea of renting out the commercial dock
Okay.
for a cruise boat.
Okay.
Are we
Go ahead. You go.
No, just are we required within our own ordinance to put this out and with any certain period of time? Like, hey, in the next 90 days, please send us your proposals, because we have one that meets our criteria that has, it sounds like about 75 days before we need a decision. So if we're required to go out for proposals now that we have one that meets criteria, or are we choosing to go out for proposals, I guess?
Yeah.
Patty? I don't know what the rules are for that, honestly.
Why do we have to do an RFP? If
Yeah.
somebody met all criteria, why do we have to do an RFP?
Well, and so before you answer that, maybe a secondary question is, it was to my understanding that we opened this up and throughout the year, anyone can submit their requests. And then the ones that come to us at fall planning, you vetted that met the criteria.
Yes.
Therefore, the policy gets kicked in. And that's when we say, does this work for us now? And, all of that stuff. So I don't know, I feel like, if this is the one proposal at this present time that meets this criteria, we should vet it at fall planning. I don't think we should open it up for a window. I don't think we should.
See, no need to open it up for RFP just because we have one that met our criteria. It sounds like this system already worked.
Well, and the thing I don't want to encourage is then other people who might not have their ducks in a row or their proposals all try and do something and then it doesn't work for anyone. So
I do think that since there was another proposal and we said we weren't ready to hear it at that point, that maybe we should
go back and
let let them come back and.
Again, I would be happy to contact him.
Did it meet the same criteria?
Sorry.
Somewhat. His proposal was to use a marina slip and then just access the commercial dock as needed.
No, what it was, I guess, if it didn't meet the criteria, because if it's yes, then I agree.
If he
Not, then
he were to want to rent the commercial dock, then it would be the same criteria that we're looking at right now. That wasn't part of his previous proposal.
Catherine?
So what I heard tonight at public comment was that the public is not necessarily aware of opportunities and or policy shifts. And so I would urge us to make, if we're going to accept one public proposal and bring it to a fall planning, and I hate to do this, I think that we need to have a clear process that the public is aware of so that they can submit proposals, because it needs to be transparent and it needs to be ability of anyone to submit a proposal. Ashley's shaking her head, so obviously step in if I'm offline. But from what I heard from public comment is some of the things that the port is doing, we are putting on our website, we are putting it out in the paper potentially for something else, but it's not necessarily hitting the community and people are not aware of it. So I urge us to do the entire RFP process. I understand the issues with that and the responsibilities and the added on staff, but given the fact that we are going to review one, why not make it more opportunistic for all to submit? If they don't hit the criteria, that's okay. We don't have to review them. But at the same time, I think what I got from public comment is we are doing our best to try to get stuff out there, and some of our users are actually missing the information. So just taking that into our own consideration. I understand, the fall planning schedule is being sent and we are about a 1 month out. So as someone who has to put proposals together, it is a pretty tight turnaround to ask the community to do it. However, if you have an idea and you want it to be heard, most of those ideas are already in proposal form. So those should be not so hard to put into a proposal that would be acceptable if it's actually a good idea. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think that's what Daryl was proposing initially.
Didn't we get like 60? Didn't you receive like?
Actually,
it's gonna undermine it.
I'm sorry, did you call on me?
yes.
Wonderful, thank you. I just wanted to add, so I probably would need a little bit more context on this particular project, but it's sounding like from what I'm hearing, it's a general renting of potential commercial real estate that is owned by the port, rented to some sort of private citizen for a project. Is that generally correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then for that, I agree, you would not have to follow legally, you would not have to follow a formal procurement process in the same way you have to follow specific RFP criteria when you're, for example, purchasing goods or acquiring services. But to Commissioner Thomas's point, you may want to still go through some sort of less formulaic process, which you could still call an RFP, and which would allow individuals to respond. Again, to Commissioner Thomas's point, just to see what else is out there and allow the public to respond. That would be completely within your right to do so.
So, would it be helpful, Daryl, if for fall planning, because this is going off of, this is a commercial, we're entertaining commercial leases for the commercial dock. And so, the Mountain Railroad would be one of those requests. He obviously is going to have a schedule. It's not gonna have a ship park there all the time, I'm assuming, correct? Because we also have things to figure out with other people. But if someone else wanted to apply to rent the commercial dock, that seems like it would be maybe just for this, since this is the one thing we have interest in. And then at fall planning, we can say, throughout the year, anyone could submit. These are the 2 times of year we're gonna approve it, and come up with a transparent public way of how people can submit things down the road. But it does sound like this is a little bit different because it's commercial dock space.
Right.
So if we want to put that on the fall planning agenda, is that specific item versus all concession?
Yes. Yes.
How about this?
Yes.
If we don't want to follow our own policy and want to do something different, I will say we are at fall planning going to consider proposals for the commercial dock. If you'd like to submit one to staff to have vetted in advance. We don't need 10 presentations that day.
No.
If you want to
Daryl,
submit something to staff, everyone in the committee, please know that we are going to be considering this. If you would like to submit something to staff, do so by November 1st, pick a day. And we're going to review it that day. And if we'd like to talk to you more, we will. But it has to be vetted by staff because they have a policy which we told them to follow. So they should be able to vet that before and kick out the ones that don't, that shouldn't go to us and bring us the ones that should.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too. Is that clear, Daryl? Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, is that?
That's all I have for my ED report. Unless you have
I have one question for our airport manager, Mr. Bernard. Our aircraft traffic count is still just ADSB operations, correct? Correct. So it's basically massively undercounted because we have more glider operations in a day than we've got all other operations combined, typically, but okay.
The solar club has, certainly they're going to get us the numbers. I
We're
believe
gonna start doing that.
I believe they're in the FBO report, which I didn't grab, but I believe they had about 400 operations this month.
Great, yeah, and I think if we can consistently at least get those added, then that might help us be more appealing for when we apply for grants and things. So, great, and I just want to call out, I see that we're moving forward with the tree project.
Yes, in fact, I just got a exhibit to share with contractors, so.
This is a huge win. I just thank you for all your hard work on this. I just want to let everyone know this is the result of years of work. Probably 5 years ago, there was a lot of people on the airport advisory committee saying, hey, we've got this stand of trees. They are causing erroneous wind information, which is a hazard to landing aircraft, and also taking off aircraft often hits violent wind shear. And we've been working back and forth with the FAA for years to try to move our anemometer, which is a wind sensor, and that was like a no-go. And so we've come back to this situation of, okay, we need to try to get these trees down. And it's been a snarl for the last year. And so I'm just very excited. Thank you guys for all your hard work that we're moving forward on this. It's a huge safety win. So thank you so much.
I don't know, Tor. I joined the airport committee and it was done. So I feel like it was pretty easy. Boom, done.
Maybe it's once we had Catherine on the city, it happens.
Right? Like July, boom, done.
So thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? No? All right, so we move down to action items. So item D is pulled from the consent agenda. Approved service agreement with Passport and Park Mobile for parking services. Catherine, you had some questions?
I did, and I did send them ahead of time, so I do appreciate the time that was gone into that. But just can you remind me what parking fees cover? I guess, is this the Debbie question? Sorry, Debbie, to put you on.
It can be a Debbie question. It's kind of our whole executive group gets to talk about this, but the parking fees actually go towards supporting our parks, which are primarily on the waterfront. So most people that are paying for parking are paying to use the parks through their parking fees, basically, is a way to think of it.
And these parking fees have been compared to other special districts across the state, correct?
I believe so. That's more of a Daryl question.
Yes.
It's a group effort on this one.
We did.
And Catherine, there's a cap.
Yeah.
On what we can charge, because we have recreational immunity, and so there's some limits that we are up against.
Yeah.
And are we at the top of the cap, or is there some room to go?
We're at the cap.
Yeah.
So we're charging the most that we can for parking at this time.
We could charge more hourly.
Go ahead.
Thank you. We can charge more by the hour, but the daily fee caps out at $15. We can't charge more than $15 a day. So our hourly could go up if we want.
And then Debbie, my final question just for you is, are we covering all the cost of the park with our parking fees at this time?
No.
No. So even though we're charging still the most, the port is still losing money on parks because we don't have ways to cover it. Is that safe?
Yes.
Yeah, parks cost us more than what we generate through parking, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, so can we make a motion to approve the service agreement with Passport and Park Mobile for parking services? I make a
move-
motion.
Okay, I second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes. Okay. E, approve resolution number 2025-26-2, adopting marina rules and regs. Catherine, you also pulled that one?
I did. Same type of question. Tor, you can go. Tor, do you have anything?
first. You go first.
I guess my same questions are, can you remind me what costs these marina fees cover?
I didn't know this one had to do with the fee. So it does, so the marina, the moorage marina itself does generate a little bit of revenue typically. I believe, yeah, actually it does. But the marina basin in general is a lot of parkland. And so the marina certainly does not cover the cost of the parkland. And so Marina Green is over there. Our biggest single park is in that area. So the money that is generated through the moorage fees, the additional revenue goes towards helping the parks as well.
To keep Marina Green green and not brown, right?
Yes, it does help keep Marina Green green.
Okay. And then again, following question, these fees have been compared with other port districts and they've been found to be reasonable in terms of comparability, correct?
Where are we at in conjunction with
We
that?
are still under the last commission directive was for staff to work the rates towards being in the top 20% as long as we have a wait list of over 100 people. We didn't have any rate increases last year due to the change with our fiscal year of the master fee schedule. So no increases in 2024. So that dipped us behind a bit. So this year we're back up to the 7-8%. There were a few differences on the different size slips, total of 10%. And we agreed in previous meetings that we would not want to increase tenant rates more than 10% at any time, out of fairness to them. So we are still, the last survey, which was done last year, we were still under the halfway mark. Under average, but we're trying to work above average.
So to clarify, looking at other marinas around the state, we are basically kind of in the middle or a little under.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a pretty good deal right now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
On wait list.
Yeah,
Okay, any other discussion? Entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2025-26-2, adopting marina rules and regs.
so. Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just want to add that we are planning to have a presentation on boathouses where we will hear whatever the propositions are and honestly and fairly try to consider them. You know, there I know over the years there are a variety of issues have been raised, problems with boathouses, and Steve actually addressed some of those, which I appreciated. But I look forward to hearing more about options to add slips to our marina. So, yep.
Or commission call. Anyone?
Beautiful sunset.
Yes.
We don't usually do visitors. I appreciate if everybody came down.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, looks like we have fall planning coming up, and we'll look forward to the roundtable.
check your emails and texts. I'll get some dates out.
Check your emails and texts. Meeting adjourned.
Great, thank you.